Good evening. You are listening live to the Extreme Movie Show. I am your host, Rob, broadcasting to you as usual from the Panels Palace, just west of Orlando, Florida. I'm in the Extreme Studios, which I'm very fortunate to have my own backup power system here because I have RDV from the Great Midwest online with me. And RDV, you'll never guess what happened here in Pine Hills. And don't tell me shootings. That's an easy answer, okay? Here on the 5-acre palatial estate that I have here by Tiny Dwarf Lake, I had a zombie outbreak. Something happened. So we had all these multicultural zombies running at me. It's a good thing I knew my Muay Thai and all that because my wife went to pick me up with our dogs, and the helicopter flew away. And it's okay that the building exploded I live in because I just walked away unscathed. And, if you guys know what I'm talking about, that's obviously the theme of tonight's movie, Ziam, a Thai. It's so hard to keep a straight face thinking about this movie because this movie, guys, it's a video game type movie. It's not bad, and there's things about it that I'm like, damn, this is really good. It left me a little wanting or whatever, RDV, so I'm not going to shit on it too bad because one thing I think you and I both agree with is that when we want certain types of violence, go to Japan, martial arts movies. If we want girls with guns, go to Hong Kong. And if you want really goddamn good-looking, friggin' disgusting zombies, you watch a Thai movie because this movie has in spades. What did you think of this movie?
Honestly, it's basically what it describes, and you go look it up. It's basically former Muay Thai boxer goes battle zombies using Muay Thai. They get to his girlfriend, who's a doctor in a hospital that's running zombies.
Yep.
Literally, and that's what it is. And I love the fact that they didn't try to sugarcoat it. They gave you what you get. And one of the reasons I checked this out because I've watched a lot of the Netflix zombie stuff, and I was like, wait, we're getting another foreign zombie thing? It's like, will this be as good as Train to Busan? Probably not, but I like that movie Alive, where the kid was trapped inside his apartment building and met the girl.
Yeah,
yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
So I figured, well, let's give this. This is a Thai movie in Thailand, so I figured let's give it a try. And it has English dub, which I thought was kind of funny because I was like, wow, the dub actually does kind of line up a little bit with their mouths. So
it wasn't bad, was it?
So I'm wondering I always thought, because originally when I get English dub, sometimes it doesn't line up because people are lazy, don't do the audio syncing with her.
Mm-hmm.
With this, I guess they must the crew, for being low budget, must have recorded it in English too, or at least mouth the words.
Well, I think that also too, this is something I'm suspecting about this movie, or just Netflix in general, because there's Netflix money behind it over in that region that Netflix has a reach that they automatically put that in there, right? Rather than it just being a Chinese movie, then they turn around and sold the rights after they've already filmed it. It was probably a part to it. So Netflix knew probably, hey, we'll show it over there for a while, then we'll bring it over here because they just kind of share their resources across their
Sure. But here's the thing too. A lot of movies they know that there's a huge American Western audience for these kinds of movies, so they will actually put it in dub as well.
Mm-hmm.
For me though, like you said, going into this movie, I kind of knew I was getting into it. I was like, Muay Thai boxer using Muay Thai versus zombies and then I didn't know it was in a hospital until I started watching. But basically, the way this movie starts off, and we always talk about the 1970s, all the global warming, all that bullshit. Well, this is kind of this. Climate change is the reason for this. The ice caps melted, they show it melting, and then all the sea life got infected with this new virus that woke up.
And that's kind of cool. Stuff that was frozen and becomes dormant again.
And then so there's water, it becomes a rare source. We saw this before with our Bounty Hunters movie we watched with Don Lee.
Yes.
Korean Chuck Norris, as we call him. So he ends up basically taking a job being a truck driver who's shipping all these frozen fish and all stuff, and because everybody's starving. This one guy is one benefactor, basically he's rich guy. He basically planned for this attack. So basically, where everyone else is around them is starving, he's had food for the longest time, not knowing that the food that he's going to eat is infected.
Yeah, the fish is infected, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
it's a symbolism for an STD.
So this guy is the head of the corporation here, and they're all going to sit down, and they're like, "Oh, don't worry, it's safe." They're giving all the fish. They're like, "What? We're not going to eat this." He takes the first bite, and he starts convulsing.
This looked good. This looked really good.
And they take him to the hospital. He's on there, and he's crashing, and stuff. But then eventually, he after they call it time of death, he his eyes go black, and kind of like if you watch Supernatural, when the demon takes over, eyes go black, people's, and then blood come out, and then he bites the nurse, and then chaos breaks up because you see a nurse running away from him, and then he's jumping, and then there's a security guard. The military is called in, the quarantine everybody into the hospital. No one can get in, no one can get out. They'll shoot anybody who runs out. Because what they turn into these basically zombies and these aren't their normal zombies. These are the zombies you saw in Walking Dead season 1, the ones they're able to run. So they're not slow moving, they're able to run fast stuff. They are attracted to sound. But I love later in the movie though, when the fire sprinklers go off, not only these zombies start to evolve a little bit. Because the water's contaminated, and the water, because of these zombies, they basically become like, remember those deep sea creatures? They had the giant ball in their head. And there's a light. That's how they were able to light. But they had the huge teeth. Well, these people, their mouths start mutating into that. So it's like Joker. You want to know how I got these scars? Yeah. And they're able to open their mouth open wider. So it's like, wow, this is like Blade 2.
No, they do look good. I do kind of actually like the fish aspect of it being the vector that transmits
and
the
you keep seeing the fish.
infection.
So before the zombie broke out and stuff, he met his girlfriend, there, and she's upset because he came home, he had a cut on his chest because he delivered was going to deliver, he got ambushed, and
another woman whining about her man doing what he does best.
Okay, anyway, no. She worries about his safety because he was a boxer before that. It's hey, Talia Shire did it the Rocky all the freaking time, okay? So so he gets in a fight, he's able to save the truck and all, and they go to the warehouse. The guy says, like, I don't want this crates broken. So they end up leaving. He goes to his boss, he gets paid out and stuff, and he's like, probably it's my last job. I want to get out of here. I want to move back north with my girlfriend, get out of this place. And he's like, well, hey, you want to have some of this fish? This is the reward. So he takes it home, wrapped it up, and you see throughout this movie, like, he's in there and stuff, and he doesn't notice, but the fish is moving, starts to move, and it wakes up and stuff. It's like, it just to symbolize that everything is basically contaminated in this area. So him going into this, he basically hears about the hospital being overrun and stuff. His girlfriend's there. He's like, oh shit, I gotta go. And he sneaks his way in, and it's kind of cool. This guy is not a martial artist in real life. He's just this is a normal. His name's Prin Suparat, and basically he has done a few things over in Thai, but he hasn't been there that long.
Well, it's kind of, you mentioned the Western kind of feel to it, and sometimes with horror, you can dress it up in a Western thing, because one of the Western themes is you've got bad guys, you need somebody to kind of take them out, and you're surrounded basically like in one area. Talk about circling the wagons. We talk about this with John Carpenter, like an Assault in Precinct 13 or Halloween and some things. You're basically cooped up, and there's nothing wrong with that. You can call it low budget, but the one thing that's very positive about this film, to me, that stands out, it's a good-looking film. You really can see what actually they give you. Some of the CGI sucks, let's be honest, but some of the practical effects are really outstanding. So I was kind of conflicted watching it, because I felt like sometimes the consistency wasn't there, but that's just kind of how I look for it. And the fish thing doesn't bug me, though, the way the mouths look and all that and everything. But just like you said, how the zombies were basically early on in Walking Dead, where you're afraid of them. You got to respect them. Otherwise, you have no reason to be conflicted and deal with something, right?
Yeah.
And it's a typical setup. He's got to go in there. His wife's like the doctor working on stuff, and things are going to happen in there. The kid gets involved and all that. But the thing is I don't know how you... let me explain this about Muay Thai to people. When you use your legs, you have your shin bone, right? That flat one, but it's angled. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So if you go to hit somebody with it, and leg kicks are very devastating, what happens is you got a very high chance of like breaking your leg. And, you wear shin guards when you play soccer, but if you've ever been kicked in the shin, it hurts like a mother. So what you do, and this kind of reminds me of when we talked about Muay Thai in early JCVD films that we've covered here on the Extreme Movie Show, we would see like Dong Po or whoever like that practicing, and they lift their leg up and they strike down so they can hit that bone flush. And what
Yeah.
you're doing is you're causing a lot of micro trauma and fractures that actually like get thickened. So basically you're deadening the nerves in the skin so it doesn't hurt you, or you don't feel that when you hit somebody. You're basically calcifying the bone a lot, so it becomes like a club to it.
Yep.
And so one of the neat things about that is we see some kicking in here, but if you're deficient with elbow strikes, which are very devastating, they're more dangerous than fists if you know how to use them.
Yeah.
Those will open you up in a heartbeat. If you watch this one movie alone, the one saving grace that I can say half jokingly here is you get plenty of elbow strikes in here and stuff. You really feel like this guy's done a good job representing martial arts the way he's acting it.
I want to correct myself. I said Prin Suparat actually. This is just like his first English that I have known of. He's been active in film since 2014. This is his fourth film, but he's been TV dramas over there since 2010. Okay. So, and he did some music video stuff. So very popular over there in Thailand. But yeah, so basically he goes into the hospital here, and before we finish with his story, his girlfriend went to the hospital. She's a doc. We learned that she's a doctor there. They travel by truck. The back of this bus, whatever, with this kid, and he meets this kid. And it turns out this kid is actually going with his mom. His mom's a nurse there. She runs the ward with the babies stuff, and she confronts you. It's like, are you angry again? He's like, what? And she's like, are you angry at your boyfriend again? She's like, and Rin doesn't say anything. Rin's kind of quiet. So, and she says like, he means well. Whether cut him some slack, And then they go their separate ways. When this all comes, attack comes out. So we can get back to Singh, the main guy comes in there, and he's taking down the zombies, knocking them out. And I want to point out that the way, because he's not using guns, he's just using his fight.
I really like that.
He is Asian Leon Kennedy from Resident Evil games.
And you know what? After a couple 10 zombies he beats up, he can rest 30 seconds. He's got full stamina.
Yeah.
The bar's recharged.
Yeah. And honestly, that's what I'm treating this game as. This is a game because that's the way the believability is no different than playing Resident Evil. I expected him to basically go grab some herbs, combine them together, make a little patch. But so basically, as he makes his way on the first floor, he's trying to get to his girlfriend. He doesn't realize she's on the top floor because she had been pulled aside from a surgery he was going to do him by her boss to help the guy who basically responsible for paying for the hospital and bread and food. His wife has been in a coma for the past 5 years, and she needs blood transfusions.
Yeah, and
so she was supposed to go up there, and the guy wanted to try this new experimental thing. He's I'm tired of her doing the blood transfusion. Can we try this? And she's like, I don't know. It's still experimental. I think, and it has something to do with I guess the fish stuff. Whatever, he's gonna give her a fish liver. That's what he wanted to do, And I was thinking oh yeah, that's great. But so while she's trapped up there, and then she runs downstairs first before she gets trapped. So Singh comes in looking for her, and he makes his way up the floors. He comes across the little boy. The little boy is played by his name's a Buddy in the movie. He's gonna call him Buddy. That's his name is. Mm-hmm. One of Wanvayla, Boonnithipaisit, I guess. They all have really
don't ask me.
Yeah, Rin has the longest name, 17 letters, freaking name. And then you also in the movie got General Chai, played by Johnny Anfone, who's another famous Asian actor. And then Nurse Mina is Buddy's mom. She's the one. And then you have Dr. Niran. But overall, like I said, he comes in there, he comes across Buddy, and then Buddy's like, hey, come here. He's like, Buddy's like, no, idiot, you gotta hit him in the head. So, and of course he does, and you get to see this in this. When he hits him in his head, their head caves in, and you see it just kind of deflates.
Yeah.
We've seen people using fire extinguishers, using the medical, the pull staffs used for holding up the IVs, using that. Just then there's really no guns in this movie until the end, but like I said, as he makes his way up each level, they have to figure out how to move past these creatures, and like I said, overall, it's a very it's for an hour and a half, or 45 minutes, or how long it was. It does move slow so at points, but then it does pick up. There's even a kind of sad and scene when they finally do come across his mom. She's in the baby ward, and there's babies still in the incubator, the tanks, because they can't leave because they're preemies. They can't leave, so she's in there, and Buddy goes around, hugs his mom, and says, "Hey, man, what's going on?" And she eyes Singh, and she's like, "Get him out of here," because she's been bit. Yeah. And this is the most darkest part of the whole entire movie. I'm serious. No, like he has to, Singh has to get Buddy out of there, and it turns. But then they leave his mom in there with the babies. Yeah. And you see her later, and you see the blood splat because she's eating the babies.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh man,
they went there.
I would have mercy killed her.
They went there.
And left the babies alone. But even then, it's like, when you find out at the end what happens in the building, it's like it doesn't make a big difference, But can you imagine when babies in each arm just kicking zombies? That would be funny. But overall, like I said, like as they make their way through, they can run into the bad guy. I forget what his name is.
Bad guy.
The bad guy. We'll call him the bad guy, or it's just the guy who's in charge of basically who left. He's the guy. He's the rich guy. Mm-hmm. He's the one. Basically, they're coming for him and his wife. So they sent us a squad in, and even though the one guy says that's suicide, I know that's where you're going. They come with their tactical gear on. They got their submachine gun stuff, and I get the knives, and they're killing the zombies, and because they're shooting, it's attracting the zombies, the sound. So then they come. And then as they get dwindle down their numbers down, and even Singh comes in here as he finds them, and he comes in to help them out, get his girlfriend. They and they go in a room. He comes out, and as he tries to help them, they shoot him in the shoulder because they only want the doctor, because that's what the guy ordered. The rich guy was like, "I want the daughter with me." Yeah,
follow the mission.
And he's passing out and stuff, and she's about to get kidnapped, but then he ends up waking up and has this awesome freaking martial arts fight guy with the main security dude.
Yeah, no, look, this movie for all its faults, it's basically an average movie, but it's one of those average movies where you're like, there's a couple cheesy CGI things that just don't work, but there's some couple scenes in here that really work well, and. We commented about the super low budget South American film Firecracker from 1981 a few days ago on our stream. We talked about, beautiful woman. They gave you a lot of action. The action might not have been great, but you got a good dose of it. Here you got a good dose of it, and it was filmed well, and it looked good. So you get a chance to kind of see, like you said, the tactical part here at the end. And you're right. I agree with you. They set it up slowly, so it feels almost like it's a horror movie. Then it kind of turns into an action movie. Then it kind of shits the bed a little bit in this last act, because the big thing is the whole ending here. The guy survives at the end, but the way he does all that, it's just nonsense. I just felt like it was very weak, and it was disappointing to me, because it was enjoyable watching him go through what he was doing. He doesn't have to talk much. He doesn't explain stuff. He's just going from point A to point B. He's got some challenges along this way. Okay, he's an ass kicker. He's not afraid of these guys, but he's got to be smart about how he's fighting, right? So I like that. It's fun to see people be smart, even if they're being physical about it, rather than just being a brute. And I thought this guy did a really good job of convincing you that he was sufficient with kicking all their asses. A part of you felt like, yeah, I could see that. I could do that.
Yeah, I'm looking at receptions, but people comments on this. Gavia Baker from Inverse, which is an online magazine, says that the derivative it may be, but there's always an audience for a cool guy kicks a bunch of monsters in the head.
Yes,
and that's what that's what keeps his audience happy, and that's what kept me happy, because I was like, normally it's the zombies and people use guns and that's it, and I liked Resident Alien because they had no idea going on, and there's only the one girl at the end,
right?
But Rain or whatever. But I like this because this is what I play in the game. So it's kind of interesting to see this. And so another guy said he gave it a 6.2 out of 10. Says this isn't vintage Tony Jaa, but most of the fight scenes, particularly when Singh has a human opponent to square off against rather than the zombie charging him, are satisfying and unsparingly brutal, and they were.
Yeah.
Another guy said he gave it a 2 out of 5. He said Southeast Asian flick is plenty for going on for it, but Sally doesn't take any risks and try and break its ghoulish mold, I guess. But it's let down by a half-hearted final act, while setting itself up for what could possibly be a reversed and rather disappointing sequel, as it proves as a memorable as an Irish Eurovision entry.
Well, here's the thing. I mentioned earlier, he's got a wife, the doctor. Okay, so he's the thug and she's the intellect out of the two. She's the provider. He's the guy that basically, to me, she just treats him like a child. And I know she's concerned because she doesn't want her man or whatever. You knew what the fuck you were marrying when you get in there. I can't stand this kind of bullshit.
Well, they were married
because it makes you go, why do I give a shit about her? I mean, honestly, if it was something different, like, I really wish you wouldn't fight because, I'm afraid I might lose you one of these days or something like that.
She's not like that, though.
She is, but here's the thing. When you have a more emotionally open and passionate particular race, like you could say, say Italian, for example, or Irish or whatever, that might ring true. But when you have typically a very emotionally closed-in performance, which is mostly Asian cultures and all that too, it comes across as very cold. And I'm not saying she wasn't a strong woman, she wasn't smart, that wasn't cool, but I wanted to feel a connection between us two, and she just seemed entitled to me about it.
Here's the problem: we don't get a backstory why she doesn't.
Exactly, something to fill it in.
Like maybe when he is fighting, he would get injured all the time, and maybe he's afraid he's going to hurt himself permanently. That's why he retired from boxing. Something like that. We don't know.
What if it was something as simple as he's bringing her something, right? To help her out, like some extra medications or something like that would help her out in her job. And she makes a comment like, I really appreciate you doing this. I know it's more dangerous than the fights you used to make a lot of money on and can't anymore, or something, So, this is going to go to the hospital with the babies. Something like that would have been an instant whammy for both of them, right? You're like, damn it, these guys are good with each other and they're doing something positive.
I think the instant whammy for you would be if he actually had a serious injury and then he despite that, fights to get her back.
Well, the ending. Let's talk about the ending with
the ending. So basically, after he takes out the security guard in awesome Muay Thai fashion, they make their way to the roof. They get out of there because they have to find a way out. And because earlier, and here's the big problem is that we know that the security guys when the guys came in, the SWAT team came in, they had already planned about blowing up the building containing the outbreak. They placed bombs everywhere. And there's 30 minutes on the clock. They spend talking 15 minutes while he's basically recuperating from being shot in the shoulder. And he not once tells her at all. Doesn't tell her there's a bomb. The kid freaking knows too. And Buddy doesn't say shit. What a great buddy. So as they make their way up to there, and the speakers came on, and we see nice, awesome, but kind of like what's going on. They show the hallway, they show this, the rain pouring on stuff, and then we see the security guard. He basically that got left for dead because the zombies ate him. He stands up, and now he's super zombie. He's coming. I'm thinking, oh, they're gonna have another showdown fight with him. No, maybe, but they basically, as they wake up, they go to the parking garage level stuff, but then the zombies start coming. So basically, he has to choose to divert their attention so they can make it to the top because there's a helicopter up there waiting for them. That was supposed to be originally for the guy and his wife. The rich guy, his wife turned, and then he's like, "Oh, your honey, you're awake," and then he hugged her, and then she just basically killed him. Yeah, he accepted it because he is at the point he wanted to die too. He knew he was going to die, and all the zombies come and rush him and kill him. But there's a helicopter with a guard, and as the Buddy and Rin get up there, and she's like, no, we're not infected whatsoever. And they're like, hey, get a helicopter. He's like, hold on, we got one more guy. Singh ended up being trapped on the other level of the parking garage, and that's built in the hospital. He's inside a car, and they're all trying to bust the car, and he's kicking them, punching them as they're coming in. He's doing all his little fight.
Dead. D-E-D, dead.
I know, right? And then what happens is actually something explodes in the car. The car doesn't explode, but something explodes, and we find out that later on we show him he somehow was underneath the car. So I don't know what exploded. Was it a flashbang he had from the grenade from the guy?
It was my hope of this movie actually trying.
Yeah. But so it's kind of jumped the shark there a little bit. He said there's some parts are kind of unbelievable, but anyway, he makes his way up and he finally makes it to the roof, and he's kind of like injured a little bit, And at first I'm thinking, is he bit or something, or whatever, because he's like walking slow. He's he's exhausted. He's been fighting the whole entire movie, and zombies come up on this door. He closes the door and he's holding the door and he's like, "Go." I'm like, "What?" It's like, bro, you can make it there, but he knows
this is like Titanic level of bad, though, isn't it?
And this is horrible because he's like, because he knows there's a bomb, and he's like, well, if I run out here, they're gonna escape quarantine. He wants something to explode to the building, So she goes, and not willingly, and they fly away, and then you see her kind of crying. She's holding the ring he gave her, like the little because they're poor, it was a gear, like a sock, or no, actually not a gear, but it was like a nut, you put on your screw and stuff, and but he especially made it for her. So they go to the place where you're talking about. She's there with Buddy raising him stuff, and then you see kind of her panning, thinking about something. But while they're leaving, though, before that, he stays there. They let the door open after they take off. The zombies come out, and then he's fighting them, and then the building explodes and just crumbles down.
Yeah.
And we're led to believe that he's basically dead. But after that scene, where they show like about a month or two later, whatever, or a couple weeks later, she's like in the nice hills, fresh, lush, stuff, away from all this, the death and decay. She's on a small little farm stuff. They pan back to the building where it's crumbled.
What happened, sir? Why would they do that?
Because the man pulled an Indiana Jones 4.
What do you mean, sir?
He was inside a refrigerator.
You mean the old cast iron ones that could survive anything?
Yes.
Wow. So what happened?
So they set it up for a sequel because he's alive.
Fucker. What's so much bullshit?
I know.
If you're going to go over the top, right?
Exactly. And I figured this whole movie, they knew it was going to be campy. They knew this. I think they deliberately did this, not to be trying to be serious. Like, I think they got something else going on, And I know a lot of people are critiques when it comes to zombie movies because people like certain things in zombie movies. There's never been a zombie movie like this that I'm aware of.
When you say like this, what specifically do you think differentiates it, though, from others?
It is the Muay Thai, the fighting, the martial arts versus zombies. He's not using a gun. He's not just, doing.
Oh, yeah. No, I agree with you on that. That's why you watch this film. You're like, okay, zombies and martial arts, no guns. Absolutely, let's do it.
Yeah,
totally. I agree with you on that.
Yeah,
no, that was intriguing to me too because when I saw the trailer on it, you and I were saying, okay, maybe we'll do some martial arts films, and we've done some recently because we go through the years off and on doing that. And I remember going, okay, I didn't know what to expect, but I know that we'd seen a couple Vietnamese films, and I've seen a few horror ones on their own where they deal more with like spirituality stuff, and people always think of like The Ring and that kind of stuff from 25 years ago. And so they just do stuff a little bit differently, which is cool. So I thought, okay, let's give it a shot. And I thought the guy did a great job. But like I say, it looks great. Some shitty CGI. It is set up for a sequel. My whole disappointment with it is because regardless of how rushed they did it and how bad some of the plot is, I can kind of overlook it with the action. I just wanted to care a little bit more about the characters. And sometimes, and you've made this point before, and I agree with you, even though the dubbing is good in here, sometimes you get a little lost in translation of being able to attach yourself emotionally to one of the characters because you cannot understand them or something. And you go, well, I like the character was just done stupidly, and that's the writer's fault, not the character. So I kind of got a little bit in here, but the fact that it's like, to your point, video game, he goes in there, he's going to go from here to here, try to do the right thing, and we pretty much see him do that. I found it a little bit refreshing, but you can't do that without getting really bored of it or annoyed if you don't set up the zombies as being somewhat fierce early on. And I'm telling you, they really look good, though. They do a great job with that.
Yeah. So the big thing is that it sets up for a sequel, but here, if those who watch Netflix, there isn't always a sequel for everything. And I'm also more forgiving for this movie because the fact it's on Netflix. It was a worldwide premiere on Netflix.
Yeah, I don't expect it to be good just because it's Netflix.
But this is the movie I would be grabbing off the wall at Blockbuster. I'd be like, because, remember we always had when the first Transformers movie came out, you go to Blockbuster, there's the bootleg copy on to the right of it. They purposely put it there because they know that people are gonna check it out. You're like, this looks shitty, but I want to watch it. Let's how bad it could be, because that's what guys did. Got together, we watched the bad B movies together because like this is gonna be stupid. And there's always one guy who loves it. There's always one guy who hates it. but I think it's rare because I generally liked it. Even for all its faults, I generally liked it.
Yeah, and I tell you, with all Netflix trying to find anything for content to put on it, I certainly have no problems with the fact that they go out of the country. Because honestly, I like the fact that we have access to culturally unique views on certain things we may have seen before already. Like we said before, we wish American films would turn into Hong Kong action films. And sometimes when we watch old Kong action, we see now that they're turning into American films. It's like, no. Do what you did, way back when. That was much better.
Now you mentioned this. If this had been American made, I don't need no man to save me from zombies. She'd be fighting zombies too.
It's
and she's like, what? You came to save me? I don't need no man. I'll do myself.
I'm still waiting for the next Amy Johnston movie. Maybe she should be in one with a bunch of zombies.
She's been doing some stunt double stuff. I know that she's married, so I don't know if she might be slowing down with her career. I mean, but right. Yeah, I wish, dude, she would have been in the new Mortal Kombat movie.
I've been that with the last one, didn't we?
She should have been Sonya Blade. But speaking of that, though, the new Mortal Kombat movie sequel actually looks really much better than the first one. I watched the trailers. There's rumors that Cole Young, original bullshit character, get killed off the first couple minutes. And the only negative I can have is what they did to Jade, giving it to the actress who's basically the DEI hire and always has to be play her bald self in every movie. So they kind of desexify that character.
Yep.
Their name is supposed to be Melina or something. I can't remember what it was in the movie, but anyway, maybe it is Jade. Yeah, I can't remember the actress name, but the Mortal Kombat movie does look great. We got Scorpion, come over here, but then we also got Carl Urban as Johnny Cage. Something I never would have thought I would actually like, even though I would have preferred him more as Kano, the crazy Australian guy.
Yeah. No, I was excited because he's in it because the trailer. I thought because the last movie sucked in my opinion. I know we reviewed it.
The only negative
we'll review it, I'm sure.
The only negative people are saying like, oh, what's with the slow-mo? 2000 slow-mo. Gives a shit. It's a video game movie.
Right.
Like
we even got to finish him, and I think we get a spine or a soul ripped out on one of the trailers.
Something like that.
That's cool. I could have swore I saw that.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, it looks way better than that crappy reboot that had nothing to do with anybody from the game.
It's still that electronic score of the original one back in the 90s.
Yeah,
that was pretty good.
Yeah, that's the only thing that was mentioned in the trailer. Mortal Kombat. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, they bring that in there. That's great. But this it literally looks like the original movie. Where they introduce Johnny Cage, and he meets Sonya Blade, and he meets the other guy, and then they have to go in a tournament. Liu Kang looks way better in this. As I said, it looks like they're actually going to give a movie to the fans instead of making one that they think the fans should have. Like they changed it to
give them what they want. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. But we'll talk about that when it comes out in theaters. But right now, if you haven't checked this out, this is for those who have Netflix. Go watch it. It's on there.
It's not a bad watch.
No,
it's not honestly, a great one, but it's not bad. It will fill in the time.
Now, if we're in the snobs, I don't watch movies that are 4.9 on IMDb. I'm like, who cares? I saw this. I saw it's zombies. The guy is good looking. The girl's good, decent looking. She reminds me of Jessica Hedwig. For those who watched the Iron Fist show, she was the Asian chick on there. Not Jessica. Sorry, Iron Fist. Yeah, sorry. And anyway, it's a fun movie. I had fun with it. Going into it, get some popcorn. Probably don't eat any meatball subs because there's some gore in here, but not too much though. Really, for a zombie movie, there's some gore, but not a lot gore. We get to see some people. It's more a sad situation. It's like, oh, that person who's missing all four limbs is hanging up now in the body harness. Where
they're no zombie.
Now there's no zombies.
That's kind of funny.
It was like, whoa, The only thing that was missing was midget zombies.
You mean vertically challenged individuals?
Little people zombies, weeble wobbles. I didn't see much kid zombies in there, was there?
No, I didn't.
No.
Thankfully, because they're annoying.
The kid zombies? I love
Kid
kid
zombies
zombies.
are annoying.
Oh my gosh! You don't overplay Days Gone because they're out here with the kid zombies.
Yeah.
I love it because most people will not do kid zombies. I'll give props real quickly to Walking Dead City this past season. He had to walk through kids ward in the hospital, and the kids were all zombies. But anyway, yeah, I don't pay attention to what critics say. I just watch and I decide for myself. I agreed, Desert Rose. That's my way of thinking is that someone could say, "Oh my gosh, that movie was so horrible," but then I say person in the same breath is like, "Oh, I love Napoleon Dynamite." Sorry. Watch what you like, review what you like, do what you like. If somebody complains, hey, it's interaction. But
all right, well, Tuesday night we'll be live, 8:00 Eastern time. Movie to be determined. If there's something you guys want, take a let us know. We'll be back then for our next film too. RDV, anything else you need to plug?
On Sunday? You're not here?
I'll be here Sunday.
Yeah, you said Tuesday.
Right, that's the next time we're together. You know what? I'm skipping ahead. I'm thinking it's Sunday for some reason. I don't know why.
I had to look too. I was
man. Yeah, so Sunday we're going to be taking care of something. So yeah, and I'll be going live solo for something before that, as the young 20-something has a family commitment he has to adhere to. So we'll postpone Columbo till the next week, but I will review something on my own. Or RDV, you're welcome to join me should we decide to do two things. We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. I'm in a good mood. There is some Netflix shows out there. Probably thinking about reviewing. One of them I'm trying to get around to watch is Mercy for None, which is based off a webtoon comic. It's actually really good. But basically a bunch of Korean gangsters taking out one another. So, and there's one dude who's basically unstoppable. Think of Batman without his gear, but still kicking ass, and people are afraid of him because he's like doesn't give a shit. He just basically beats people up with no guns whatsoever, like this. John Wick without guns, and doesn't care if he breaks people's legs, arms, and stuff, and he just keeps limping as he gets to his next destination.
You just gave me a quick thought for the best John Wick sequel of all time, number 5. You know what it should be? He starts dressing in Crocs and his sandals, right? And socks, right? The classic Florida man thing.
Yeah.
He shaves, he becomes vegan, and he gets a cat, and he becomes anti-violent. And everybody tries to recruit him, and he just does the quiet king thing where he's like, I'm not going to fight. It just really go total shit on the audience. Man, that would be worth $1 billion.
Yeah, we need a vegan who's possibly unbelievably strong. We got vegan powers from eating a vegan life, and it's unstoppable.
Taste the fury.
Taste the fury of my organic
spray.
Taste the fury of organic man.
Organic man. There's some phosphate-free attitude for you.
Oh no, he knows Moy soy.
Moy soy. Oh, that's good.
There, seriously, if you're out there and you're vegan, we mean you no harm.
For you, okay, whatever. But go eat a steak. It's healthy for you.
So. It is. Get a burger. Don't be like Ariana Grande, who you look like a skeleton.
Yeah.
All right.
Good night now.
Okay, guys.